it's so complicated was like in the refugee camps because again I go back to like now understanding the history of things in the refugee camp since they were like because I remember that that cousin that had
Yeah.
the gun at my head.
Yeah.
I remember he was like a pro Fatah guy,
Yeah.
and his nickname was Cement.
Okay.
He was like so strong, and he had a lot of tattoos of Palestine and whatever, and he was kind of funny and good looking and really strong, and he was in that militia, and he used to get paid by that militia, and all of that. Uh, Even though he was in the refugee camp, but like he was among his gang, his militia, his whatever. He used to get paid by that, by the PLO or whatever. So he was happy, and he had authority, and uh, and a lot of others are exactly like that. It's they're I mean they're not allowed to really work in Lebanon, really get proper jobs and all that. And again, most of them couldn't have the chance to really get really educated. Like funny stories, even in my family. I remember a lot of my uncles actually. They used to to drop out of school on by the fifth grade because by on the fifth grade you have to graduate to go to the sixth grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why back then it was like a really hard exam and whatever. So a lot of them used to drop out of school on the fifth grade, and that's it. Uh, so a lot of those Palestinians, of course, they didn't have the proper education or the chance to get educated and all of that. Those who got educated, like my father, like did his university, so he went to the Gulf, to Saudi Arabia. A lot of Palestinians did that. They study and then they go to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Jordan, or some of them go to Europe or the US. So those who were able to get educated did that. Those who didn't, like one of their options were to join a militia and get paid. So going back to that cousin that was called Simen, I remember when it became so tense and different militias and fighting each other within the refugee camp. I remember that guy. He one of my uncles moved to Germany back in 80 something. So when it became so dangerous for that cousin because he's known as a pro PLO guy and he was under threat, and I know a few times he was barely survived the gun battle or whatever. So eventually, he was so loved by his family. So they got him to move to Germany. And I remember, I was in Germany in '91. He was so the I don't know, this portray of depression and weakness and devastation, because he was in the refugee camp all the way till I think '86. He was like a cement model or whatever. He moved to Germany. He is uneducated. Of course, he can't play with guns. He can't do anything, whatever. And I don't know, he was he started working, I don't know, as washing dishes or painting, whatever it is. So kind of, it's kind of all that, the Hercules in his homeland. Now he's like that, whatever, nothing almost. And when he moved to Germany, so I was like, that's cement, I was shocked when I saw him back then in '91, and even he got even more depressed. I remember I don't know, by end of the '90s, he couldn't take it anymore, and he moved back to Lebanon. And again, I saw him back then, and he was always, you know, like when growing up with that famous gunshot, whatever. Like he's that, you know, strong militia guy or whatever. So he was like kind of that typical story that always stuck to my head, that those poor guys who were like raised in that refugee camp, when they lost that status of being, I don't know, strong militia members, a lot of them got into that devastation that they have no other thing, like they're not skilled to do anything else. Or some of them actually got depressed, even if they could, like, you know, just, I don't know, do house maintenance, whatever. It's like they took it too hard on themselves. Like they were, you know, really strong or like known or recognized when they were like in the militia back then. So afterwards, it was like a huge shift for them. So yeah, these are things that I witnessed with those guys.
What happened to him when he did go back? Did he regain his?
No, it like he was a bit, you know, a bit relieved because he's in his like kind of home turf again, but he was still like depressed and whatever. Eventually, the typical story of Palestinians also, like one of his daughters got married to a Palestinian who lives in the U.S. So she moved, and then she applied for him, and he moved there. So he's kind of in the U.S. now. Like I think he's working with his son-in-law and like house maintenance and construction and stuff.